Hi, everyone. If you're just joining us, my name is Clifton Hartsoff. I am here from Lrnr. So, Lrnr is an OpenStax derived adaptive classroom for anyone who would like to use open education resources, but are looking for ways of doing so that integrate with their LMS. We integrate with Canvas, D2L Brightspace, Blackboard, Moodle, and also would like to have access to a wide variety of test options and adaptive quiz options and practice options that are not available in the OpenStax textbook. So this particular session is about concepts of biology. So I've already logged into Lrnr. Now keep in mind that if you are a faculty or an instructor, this works beautifully with all of the learning management systems. It integrates directly into it. It's not difficult to get everything set up, and all of your grades and your student metrics track straight back into your learning management system. So there's no headaches when it comes to grade time or reporting. As you can see, we've got a wide variety of courses. There are 21 total now, and at this stage, we are actually able to provide a library option, which means that if you have a variety of courses you'd like to use and also put them into add them into your learning management system, we can actually provide all of those. The great part about it is it's only $80 per student per year. So if your student is in 4 Lrnr courses, they only pay $80. And you can reduce you can actually add and drop students really easily. So if you have 20 students that start the semester, 10 drop, and then you add 10 more, the licensing works seamlessly. It's not tied to the student name. It's quite simple to add students and drop them based on just based on how many students are going to access the system. So let's jump straight in here. Keep in mind this is concepts of biology. We have 21 other courses. We're just going to cover concepts of biology today. Now you might be familiar with the OpenStax textbook. It's a great foundation for a lot of learning, but what it lacks is almost anything accessory wise digital. You download the PDFs. There are some texts and courses that and questions that you can use while you're doing your course. But beyond that, it's fairly simple. So what we've done is we've actually layered on a lot of other activities and accented everything that OpenStax has created. We've done that in the form of digital add-ons. For example, in anatomy and physiology, you will have cadavers. And in biology, you'll be able to see cells, three-dimensional. We also have exploding references so that you can see the insides of different parts of the anatomy. And on top of that, as is normally the case with OpenStax, it always comes with a bank of different questions. It's a static bank. Those banks are circulated online. Students quickly find ways of discovering the answers. So we have added in questions that can scale to different Bloom's levels, and that actually allows you to not only create your own questions really quickly based on images and text, but also use one of our very wide banks of questions. Anatomy and physiology, we have thousands of different questions, and it's quite easy to make your own. So we'll jump straight in. This is concepts of biology. If you wanted to navigate to one of the other courses, if you were on a library model, you have this option right here. You can jump between them if you're a student or an instructor for that matter. So we'll jump straight into Learn. Now, the base model, the base text is all here. Probably looks familiar to you if you've ever seen OpenStax. On the left side, you have your chapters. On the center, you have your reading space. And this is where things have been augmented. So as we're scrolling through, you'll notice on the right, we have smart content and annotations. So the smart content will change as we scroll down. For example, the smart content related to this section is a glossary, laws of inheritance. You have drag and drop terms. These are practice, law of dominance, and we also have a video. So these videos have been pre-vetted They are all OER, so they're okay to use in your courses, but they've been pre-vetted by Lrnr to accent the existing textbooks. So if we scroll down, you'll see keeps changing, more activities, more things in the glossary, more ways to augment the learning that you will do if you're a student, especially in a remote environment. It's very difficult to get these kinds of activities all in one place so that you have access to them all the time. Now on the right here we have annotations. You can see the bouncing circle there. So the annotations are really great. It allows you to highlight something. So Mendel's law of independent assortment. You can right click on it, you can add a note, or you can add a bookmark. And as you're going through the semester and you're learning different subjects, this gives you a breadcrumb through the different texts, and it allows you to jump back and forth between them as you're learning. So it's very helpful for the students. Now, built into each of these sections, we do have other activities. Let me see if I can find a quick activity here so you can get a sense of that. Saw one up here somewhere. Switching to smart content, and that's where it will jump in there. So scrolling down, there it is. Okay. So for example, this is an activity right here. Drag the terms and fill the Punnett square with a possible combination of alleles. So we'll click on that. Each one of these courses has a large number of practice quizzes and practice questions. Now, there's also a separate bank for instructors. So don't be concerned about accidentally giving a student a practice question. It's not possible. They're completely separate on the database side. So some things to note about these activities. There's a large number of different ones. Uh, Drag and drop, fill in the blank. Our system is capable of recognizing the misspelled words. If the student is close and the system can figure it out using machine learning, then it will recognize it. And we even have questions that are able to switch from, say, fill in the blank to multiple choice. So the student can get some points for the activity, but not full points. So it's adaptive as they're going through it. So in this case, drag the terms and fill the Punnett square. So we'll drag them up to here. Um, my genetics is a little bit weak, so I'm not sure exactly, but it gives us the option because it's practice. We can also show the answer. And there's the answer. So this is activity 6 out of 6. This is the Bloom's level, understand. That gives you a sense of it. So we can go back, click back, we'll jump back over into Learn, right where we had left previously. So that's an example of a practice activity. So let's jump over into the regular activities, all broken out based on the chapters. And the other nice thing that I think that every faculty member will enjoy, every teacher will enjoy, is all of these courses, as they are loaded into Lrnr, the content is completely up to the discretion of the teacher. One thing we've learned from thousands of conversations with instructors is that they really want to teach the subject the way they like it. They have very specific requirements. They want to customize to their very specific requirements. So we're able to do that for you before the class begins. You give us a set amount of questions or a set amount of subjects you'd like to cover underneath the course rubric. So we can actually match that to your student learning objectives and to your unique taste. That's something we do. It's all part of the service. Nothing additional costs there. It's very it's very easy for us to do. So it's completely customizable. We set it up the way you want it to be, and if you've got 10 different faculty members in a biology department, for example, each one will have their own ideas. They want to do things their own way, so we completely respect that, and we embrace that as part of the setup process of Lrnr. So let's look at how cells obtain energy. We'll do resume activity. We'll jump straight into another one here. Keep in mind that if you have any issues down here on the lower right, not sure you can see it there, there's a little almost like a ladybug. So you can report an issue to us. We will fix that. We will change grades if there's any grades effective, and we'll do that within 24 hours. So there's nothing for the instructor to do. If there's an issue, just have your students report it, and we will take care of it on the back end, and the grades will be adjusted. So there isn't any additional activity or work related to you if you're teaching. So in this case, this is activity 2 out of 2. This is understand level. Again, there's 55 points available. This is identify the structural components of ATP. Um, I don't really know these. I did not take chemistry, so I'm just going to take a few guesses here. It's probably completely off. Organo, I'm just going to say maybe that's nitrogen. And let's check our answer here. Completely wrong. We also have the option to see the answer because it is a practice question, but that gives you a sense of it. So these are the actual answers to the question. Let's go back over and I'll just jump straight into the 3D body so you get a sense of it. Not all of our courses have this, obviously. Biology, anatomy and physiology labs. This is where you'll get this content is very helpful. Keep in mind that this is a web-based content, so it's not downloadable. That's just the way the technology works that powers it, but it's quite helpful. You can actually drag down through the different layers here on the left side to expose the different regions of the body. You can freeze it in one place. For example, here, you can move it around so you're able to see it. And so this works really well in a remote environment where you, as is been recently the case, you might have to go remote for a few weeks. Maybe you're a flipped classroom. You do in person part of the semester. Other parts are completely remote. We also have a click option here so that you can see the different parts of the body and then remove those. So there's quite a lot of different options. In addition to that, we have MyBank. Give you a sense of it. So the great part about MyBank is you can accent the already large number of questions that we've already pre-developed for you. So if you fixed a subjects within, in this case, concepts of biology that we didn't happen to have a really deep number of questions for, it's quite simple to make your own. So let's check out one of these ones here. We'll open it up. So this is COVID-19, very familiar nowadays. This was actually an image that was copied, dragged in, and we used a highlighter here to highlight the different regions on the virus itself. And the question was, is a virus a microbe? The answer is yes. And if you wanted the students to indicate certain areas of a virus or perhaps a part of the body and identify them, then it would be very easy for you to actually create questions. So you can do questions or a diagram. Questions become multiple choice. They can become drag and drop. We can also edit the difficulty of them after the fact. And the great part about that is everything that's in MyBank, once you've added it into your actual course, then they can be templated and shared across the department. So if everyone in the department adds 10 or 20 questions over the course of the year, and you want to reuse those across the department, and then in the next semester, it's easy to just copy that template and then reuse it in the fall if you happen to create it in the spring or perhaps even in a summer course. Very easy to create those, and it's also easy to sync your grades back to your learning management system. The other thing I want to point out, some of these things probably seem standard to you. You've seen 3D visuals before. Maybe you've seen even a cadaver model, which is something else that we have in the activities here. But one thing that's quite helpful is under the reports, we're able to track quite a lot of detail regarding the student learning objectives. Let me bounce back over here. Okay, so under reports, and if we do a demo section here, let's do the overview report. Of course, you're always looking for ways to identify students that might need extra help. So, for example, James Smith here, this is the number of quizzes that he's completed. And after each quiz, you will get a sense of what subjects the questions were over, and then how well that student did. So, for example, if it seems that the student did poorly in one area or another, you can issue more practice quizzes or focus more heavily on that in the lecture going forward. So it provides a way of adapting as you're going through your semester or your course to the individual needs of the students in a way. You can even group them together a little bit easier so that you'll have a sense of which areas your students might be weakest in, and you can focus on that so that you're fulfilling your student learning objectives. So the other thing that we have that is probably of interest, especially if you're doing in course like live, not so much virtual only, but definitely if you're in a live circumstance, you can also create quizzes that will react dynamically within the course itself. And in this case, it could be a live quiz. So if you're running your classroom, you're doing a lecture, and you want to drop in some specific questions just to track engagement, it's very easy to do that using the Learner live quiz tool. Now, normally things of this nature are separate and extra. This is all built into Learner, one price. There's never any extra payments, and all of the things that we do are free and include up to and including that white glove service when you're setting up your course. And if there's any problems with your questions throughout the semester, we fix those quickly and for free as well. So to get back to your course, just simply hit back, and we'll go back to let's go to the activities. And the last thing I'll show you is, if you're teaching biology, it's obviously great to have three-dimensional visuals, but another area of interest which you might find good to share in a classroom is going to be the cadavers. And so the cadavers are almost always, so anatomy and physiology, they're very, very frequent. Let's see, I think we've got one under here. So 3D circulatory, musculoskeleton system. Don't see one under this one. Cadavers are helpful to understand something more in the laboratory environment, but they're not available in all of the courses. So you can certainly find them in anatomy and physiology in the anatomy and physiology lab. So to wrap up, Learner is an adaptive courseware system. It integrates with all of the big learning management systems. Its strength is in that it is very adaptive on the faculty side, the teaching side, and also the student side. And it it comes bundled with thousands of questions and additional content and activities, so that regardless of where the student is, they're able to learn as much as possible in the shortest time possible. So thank you for joining us in this brief overview. This has been Concepts of Biology. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. You can also go to learnfast.com and send us a message there through our chat window. We're available 24/7. If you have any questions for me, I can be reached at clifton@lrnr.com. That's CLIFTON at Lrnr, LRNR.com. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to come back over the next couple of weeks. We'll be going over every one of those 21 courses, explaining how they work, giving everyone a sense of how useful they are for a flipped classroom, an in-class environment, or even a completely virtual environment. So thank you very much for joining me, and have a great week.